What's up, dirty plant hoes and all you dirty plant enthusiasts out there? It is I, Rachel, your plant madam, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my air plant collection because I mentioned it in my last video and I got tons of comments saying that you guys wanted to see my collection. I did my best looking up the names for these air plants, but I may be wrong on a few of them. I don't mind correcting names of plants ever, but I am going to give it a shot. And after I show you guys my air plants, I had Casey on his lunch break down the aquaponics system that we have. Again, we did it a long time ago, but it's been a while. And what additives he uses for it, and I backed up and gave a bunch of shots of what it looks like now and what the fish look like now and things like that. So just a couple of fun things today. And if you aren't already subscribed, please consider becoming a part of the Dirty Plant Hoe family. So to start it out, we'll start with the biggest one first. Excuse me, buddy. The one that I just showed to you guys in my latest haul. Someone said take a shot every time I say Westwood Gardens because I said it a lot in that video. I haven't actually watered this yet. I'm going to show you guys also today how I care for my air plants. If I'm doing anything wrong or you guys have any extra tips and tricks, be sure and leave them down in the comments below. I'm not exactly sure what kind of air plant this air plant is. I looked around, I did a lot of looking and perusing for air plant supply company stores and things like that, but Tilanzia Xerographica, it's curly like that, but other than that I'm not sure what kind this is. So if you guys know, definitely leave it in the comment section down below. Okay, so that's the biggest one. We'll just go in order of size. So these are my two Xerographica Talanzias, and you notice that this one is a little more on the green, frosted green side, and this one is more on a pink and blushing side. They've both grown quite a bit since I've had them. I can't quite remember when I picked these up, but they were at Lowe's, which I thought was pretty crazy. A lot of these where did I get a lot of these from? I'm gonna say majority of these air plants did come from Westwood Gardens, but it wasn't all in one trip. It was over the past 3 years or so. So these are Lowe's air plants that I picked up. So easy, just like everything else. All of these air plants I give the exact same care to, and that'll be at the end of this collection. Also, I love these little curly cues right here. And every time when my Nana, when she came over, she didn't know that these were actual real plants, and she really, really likes these. I tried to talk her into taking one home a couple of times and telling her that they just need some light, but she hasn't taken one home yet. I'll throw in a clip right now of Nana coming over to visit. She's been bringing me, you guys were confused when you heard me say this the last time. Let me be clear, I have a list. My Nana brought me over some pots, plant pots for my plants. And she's been bringing them over quite a bit lately. So I'll throw in a clip here of my Nana giving Winston some loveys.
Your Nana, Winston loves his Nana so much. Yes, you do, you love me. Yeah, you do, you like me. No, you do. Too intense. You do. You love me. You love me. I love you too.
So I think that these next two, these are called Tilancia Capitata, and I'll be putting the names on the screen so that you guys can see. And I was actually bragging when I first hauled these a long time ago and was saying about how I loved the purple and the red color on these plants, but that was actually spray painted on, and I had no clue it was actually done. For painting plants, it was done in such a subdued way that it was really hard for me to tell. I should have known. It was very early in my plant acquiring days, so I had no idea, but it was pretty funny. They got me on that one. That was a pretty big fail. Sound pretty dumb now, but this one has not bloomed. This one has not bloomed yet, and you know that because it doesn't have any pups on it. Once they bloom, they don't necessarily die, but then they won't ever bloom again. but they will have little pups. So this one actually has bloomed. You can see the little brown, kind of crispy, once was a bloom there, and you can see that now it has a little baby on the side. Super duper cute. Love it. So I think those are Tilanzia Capitata. I really like them though. Even with the little purple spray painted sprigs on it or whatever, I mean, it does give it a cute little hue. So those two are super cute. My next biggest air plant is this Talansia Kaput Medusae. And I have had this one also, I don't know, man, over a year at this point. Super cool looking, very squid-like. I see a lot of people decorate their air plants by putting them inside of like those empty bell-shaped shells, and then it looks like squid or octopus or something, and they'll hang it in like a mobile type of fashion. They're so cute. I haven't done it yet, but I don't know. I guess I kind of just like them being free for when I take care of them, so I know that they're drying out properly, I guess. It'd be cool if you could take it out of that octopus look type situation. But this is the Talanzia Kaput Medusae. And fortunately I bought that one sans spray paint, so I didn't have to look like a fool on that one. So this next guy is my Tilanzia Bulbosa. This is the one I always want to call the Medusae because, or Medusa or whatever. It looks more like that should be its name, but it's not. This one is called the Bulbosa. I love it. It's the new growth that comes out has like a really like deep purple tinge to it. There's also some red and pink like hues in it, so it's really pretty, and you don't ever really know what direction these crazy little arms are going to go in when they really do come out and start growing. So it's a really neat one. I also like it. So Tilanzia Bulbosa. So this is the one where I'm not quite sure of the name on this one. It looks like some of the pictures online, but it also doesn't look like some of the pictures online. You can see the dried up bloom that it had. It was gorgeous. Purple little blooms, and they were the daintiest, prettiest little blooms ever. Totally worth it. Totally worth the wait. So I'm not quite sure what this one is called, but love it nonetheless. So if you know the name for it, definitely leave that down in the comment section. This next one is really cool. I also picked this one up at Westwood Gardens, and I really love the hanging hook that I bought it on. It's really, really cool. And this one's called the Talansia Ayanantha Clump. They sell them like this in a little clump. And if you have, if you like air plants, but you want to see them blooming more often, I suggest that you try one of these, because they put off so many pups when they do bloom that there's so many air plants that something is always blooming. So you can see the little purple blooms, and something is literally always blooming on this air plant because there's so many air plants in this little clump. So really cool. Also very easy to display because they sold it to me on this little hook. So whenever I get done taking care of it, I just go dunk and just hang it up somewhere. And it's really, really super convenient. So you can see, I think one of them died. Two of them maybe died here on the back side. But I don't know, like I said, I got this one super early on in my air plant carrying days. Last but not least is this teeny tiny little Tilancia Tectorum that I just recently picked up on my last video and I showed you guys, but it is currently my smallest, little weeest air plant baby that I have. Get it really close up to the camera. It is such a cutie. It looks like a little fuzzy tarantula or something. It is so cute. I love it a lot. Anyway, so that's a lot of air plants, but to be real with you, like, I take care of all of them the same, and I'm gonna show you how I take care of all of them. I'm gonna water all of them today because I haven't watered any of them in 3 weeks or so, which means that they're very forgiving. I haven't had any of them like drop dead because they couldn't tolerate not being watered super regularly. So let me show you how I water them and how I take care of them. It's super duper 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 easy. Rescue the air plants from Lowe's when you see them next time. They're so cute and they're so easy to take care of, and they just die little slow painful deaths at Lowe's. Hashtag be a part of the solution.
Okay, so here's my baby. Yeah, you got ravioli on your head because the boys give you people food when I tell them not to. Yeah. You must be really ready for your nap this afternoon, bub. You really sleepy. You really sleepy. Oh, you just wanted to be cute for camera. Okay.
Okay, so here are all the air plants that I just showed you. They're all sitting on my little stool there, and I'm gonna show you how I care for all of them. So here we go. Pick them up. I like to take these, put them upside down. Let's grab the other big one. Oh man, it's hooked in. It's hooked into the okay, there it goes. Hey, fishy, fishy. Dook. Okay. Let's just grab a whole clump of them. I'm not rough with them or anything. You know me, I'm a gentle lady. The gentle claw. So there's 1, 2, oop. And they all float, which is weird. Like you would think that they would all just sink straight to the bottom, but they don't. They float. Oh shit, I forgot. I watered that one yesterday. Ooh, too many waters for you. I'll take him back out. That was probably one too many waters for you, little dude. Okay, we'll get the Medusae and the Ayanantha. We'll put those in, blooms and all, right? Which just seems crazy. Seems like you wouldn't want to do that. You would think this sinks too, because it gets pretty heavy, but it does not. All right, so now I am going to set a timer. 5 or 6 minutes, probably just 5 minutes. Yeah, set a timer for 5 minutes. So now that our timer has gone off, I have set a towel down here on the floor that we are gonna have to fight Winston for. And I've also set up a tabletop fan, probably cost me about $10 at the old Walmart, W-O-M-M-A-R-T. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take these out and we're gonna place them upside down for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to switch them around to where their openings are facing the fan after that. So, okay, beep beep, buddy. Okay, beep beep. The first one is the Xerographica, and you can see how much the colors change once they get underwater. And I learned a tip that if you are wanting to see if they are dead or alive, when they're, you know, when you're caring for them and you're worried that they might be dead, you can just spritz a little bit of water on them, and if the green color shows up, then you know that they are still alive. So the Xerographica has a very deep, very deep insides. So I'm gonna place it upside down in front of the fan for a minute first to let it kind of drain. You see what I mean? Like the water bubbles coming out of it. You see how deep those holes are? So we don't want them to rot. You know what I mean? So it's important for those insides to drain out really, really good. Check out that little air root ball. This one doesn't look as good. This one may be dying. I don't know. I don't think it's dying, but this one looks a whole lot better. Okay, I'm just gonna get the rest of these guys out and I'm gonna place them. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let these guys sit for about 5 minutes in this upside down position, and then after that I'm gonna rearrange them in front of the fan, and then I'll come back and get them like whenever I feels like it, because they can just kind of sit in front of the fan for a while. They're not really gonna get hurt by it. So I shut the fan off. It's been 5 minutes, and now I'm gonna rotate all of them to where the opening of the air plant is facing the fan, the oncoming fan wind, as it were. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna flip this one because I can't do anything else. Open face towards, open face towards, open face. Oh gosh, these are so hard to pick up with one hand while I'm filming. Set it on its side. Set it on its side like this. And you see how the little Tectorum is already white again? Super cool, huh? It's already like dried off again. So I'm gonna let it dry off a little bit more because God knows it probably didn't need to be watered. I think I watered that like yesterday and completely forgot about it. But okay, and then I'm just gonna turn the fan back on, let everything hit the insides of it for a while. I'll toss the big flowering one in a little bit later so that these will have plenty of time to dry out here before I go moving on to anything else. So it's that simple. That's all I do to take care of my air plants. I don't do it every week. I don't think I do it every 2 weeks. I maybe do it once a month. They seem to not mind it, and they all seem to be growing. I've had most of them for over 2 years now, or right at 2 years. So I feel pretty confident about how I'm taking care of them, and I think it's all working out really well. So now I'm going to have Cletus explain to you guys how our aquaponics system works and all the additives that he uses for that system, because you guys have been asking a lot of questions about that. So
I just used fish tank water to water my plants, and Casey just filled up the aquarium, and I asked him if he would tell you guys some stuff about the stuff he does with the water and his whole thing over here, because people have really been asking for an update.
This has been working out really well for us. We've been doing aquaponic watering for your houseplants for over a year now, and that's 99% of all the watering that you do comes out of one of our aquariums. Looking back, I think some of the things that have worked well is most plants will there's a certain pH range for both the soil and for the water where they uptake the nutrients better. And as the pH rises, it can kind of block the plant's ability to bring in the nutrients into the plant itself. So you can adjust your water pH, and you've done a video on that where you lowered the pH and got it down to
which is when I was using tap water.
Right, using tap water, and when you were doing it out of the bathtub so you could have a large reservoir. So shortly after that video, or around that time, we were thinking about doing it basically the same concept, except doing it from the aquariums. So what aquarium water does, especially in an aquaponic system, is it pulls the pH level down naturally. So the bacteria that grows in the leca will naturally pull the pH down over time. So we actually have to buffer the pH back to get it up to a neutral level. But the result of that is, as you're taking water out of the aquarium, it's somewhere around pH neutral. You know, at a 7, 7.5, and it could even be a little bit acidic down into the 6s. And most of your plants will uptake their nutrients a lot better when the pH is in that range. So you don't have to adjust the pH, basically. So when you're using aquarium water, that's been done for you basically naturally. And also you get the chlorine has been taken out of the water by default also. So no chlorine, your pH is already in a better range, and the nutrients are already dissolved in the water. So you scoop out the water, it has nutrients, it has chlorine taken out, and the pH is in a better range for your plants to uptake the nutrients. So those are just kind of built into the system, and they happen automatically in an aquarium or in an aquaponic system. So just real quickly, it's a real simple setup. So you start with a regular aquarium, and I put a little water pump in the bottom. So there's just a little water pump in the bottom, and then I've just got a little plastic hose going up into the back. And that plastic hose goes into a little PVC pipe. There's a little fitting on the back of that back here. So basically the water comes in right here on the back, and then I have a little PVC valve here that can shut off or open up, and it just kind of helps regulate the water flow. So if I open it all the way up, all the water just flows out this pipe back into the aquarium. It just circulates the water and flows it back into the aquarium. But if I shut it off a little bit, it pushes some of the water that direction, which pushes it into the grow bed here. And that's the water that you see flowing down right there. So it's just so that you can adjust the water, because naturally the water is going to go one direction or the other, and you need to have an ability to control it. And that's all this does.
So what's that sponge that your water is flowing into?
So that's just to filter off. That always happens when you record, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just to filter any of the solid materials. It's going to be poop, solid pieces of food material or whatever.
Okay.
It's just a little, but on the back of it, that's one of the key things of the system. And you can see, yes, that is worms. Those are worms right there. So I introduced some red wiggler composting worms into the system, and they live in the leca because it's not always submerged in water. The water goes up and the water goes down. The worms live in there, and they eat some of the solid particles, and they break it down, and then they poop, and their excrement goes into the system as well in it's more of a thin ooze type of material. It's not a solid particle. So they help break down the solid particles even more, produce their own waste into the system. So you have the fish waste, you have the food breaking down, and then you have the worm waste breaking down materials, and all that goes into the water, gets absorbed up into the water, and provides your nutrients for the system. Last little thing is the Bell Siphon, and without getting too deep into it, this is just a little device, little standpipe in there, and a little cap that you put on it that causes the water to go up to the top and then drain back down. And it's just a continual up and down of the water flow. So the water's not sitting at a certain level and staying. It goes up to the top of that standpipe in there, then it drains it back into the aquarium, then it goes up and down like that. So you get some times where the leca is dry, it starts to dry out. Now it's fast enough to where it never gets dry, but it's not continually submerged. So it puts air into the roots of the plants. So when the water goes down, they get air on the roots, and then when the water comes back up, they get the water and they get the nutrients. So we never have to water these plants. We never add nutrients to these plants, and we tie them to this pole, and obviously they're growing really, really well. So pretty happy with this. This was a proof of concept. I'd done large systems before for growing tilapia and growing vegetables, and this is the first time we scaled it down to just a regular aquarium. And these are the tubs you can get at Lowe's, regular components, and it's worked really well. So when we get our new place, when we get a new land and a new house, and we get all moved in and settled, we're probably going to build more of these type of systems in the house. The humidity stays up in the 60s right around this area here. So the water everywhere kind of helps the humidity level. We do not have a humidifier in this room at all, and you can see that the Albo, the Splendid, everything that we put in here has done a really, really good job growing and not shown any signs of stress or anything. Clip in a few lights of your choice, throw a little fan in here to circulate the air, and you're up and running.
If you wanted to try to build something like this yourself, it may take a couple of tries. You may, I don't know. Casey wasn't like super good at this.
I would say
it did take you a couple of tries way back in the day when you were working on your regular stuff. You know
so
what I mean?
Here's what I would say: if you already
mark 4 times, cut once.
Oh, on the marking and stuff.
Yeah.
But most of the materials are very, very cheap materials. The stuff that you cut and all that stuff, it's PVC, and you can get an 8-foot PVC for $3. So it's really cheap materials. And if you already are used to maintaining aquariums and you kind of haven't already have that part under your belt, this is a real easy add-on piece to add to it. If you've never done fish or aquariums before, maybe just start with a decent sized aquarium and get the fish up and going, and just kind of get used to taking care of the fish, because that is part of the process. You still have to take care of the fish that are in the system. So you vacuum out, you do some water changes. So we actually use a little suction. I think you've shown that. So because Rachel is always stealing water out of my aquariums, it forces me to do more cleaning and more maintenance, because the water levels are always getting low. So I'm always having to put new water in. And I would say once every 2 or 3 times that I fill them up with water or do a cleaning, I will add a few additional nutrients like the iron chelate, chelate, however you say that, and then a calcium and is it potassium or calcium magnesium? It's calcium and magnesium additive for aquariums. It's just like CalMag, except it's safe for fish. So you can get it on eBay in a big, 5-pound block of powder, and I just take a scoop of each one, a little bit of the iron chelate, and throw it in there, and then it just absorbs. The water will turn awful colors for about 2 or 3 hours until it circulates.
Yeah, it's
but
the prettiest.
but it goes away after a few hours, and it kind of leaves a copper color to your water, I think, which is fine. But it definitely got rid of any of the lightening of the green leaves. We had a couple of leaves early on that wanted to get really light green, almost a yellowy, and that's a classic iron nutrient deficiency. So in some vegetables, the green will kind of move around the plant, and iron is one of those things that doesn't move. It is not a mobile nutrient, and there's a word for that. I don't think it's mobile nutrient. That's the layman's terms. But some of the nutrients will move through the plant stem and go to the top leaves or the bottom leaves. Iron is one that does not do that, so you just have to kind of supplement that a little bit. So if you do something like this and you notice your leaves are not real dark or they're starting to kind of lighten up, just add a little bit of iron to it. You can get that on Amazon. It's in a little round container. It's a powder. You just put a little bit in there, and it went away fairly quick. And all future leaves have been just fine. So it's been a good system. It's been a good experiment. If I had to do it again, I would make this tub larger, because when you put these large net pots in here, you can only fit so many of them in a tub this size. So you need to be thinking about how many plants you want, how big are they going to be. I would also not put the aquarium on the ground. That was a mistake. So when we're using our little siphon pump, we put it in there and we pump the water out. The bucket is level with the water level, so there's not much of a siphon that gets created, and it'll only bring out 6 or 8 inches of water into the bucket, and then you have to continually pump it. It's just kind of a pain in the butt. We thought because it was big and I wanted to have as much room for growth on the plants, that I wanted it closer to the bottom, but having it up a foot, or you don't have to necessarily have it on a big platform like a lot of aquariums are, but I would have brought it up at least a foot or so, put it on something, so plus it's going to be hard to move at some point because we can't get our hands under it, so it's going to be an ordeal.
So
hit record while this is going.
It's already recording.
Oh, okay. So I was talking about the bell siphon, and as you can see, when the water gets to the top of the bell, it starts draining it, and it drains right back into the aquarium, as you can see there. So what that does is that aerates the water. So all the water really needs to get oxygen put into the water is for the surface to be disrupted like that. And it causes a gas exchange right when that happens. So that's happening like that cycle will happen like once every 5 to 7 minutes is when the tub drains back out. And every time it does, it agitates the water. There's a gas exchange, and it keeps oxygen in the water. So we do not have a store-bought or a manufactured what do you call it? Filter. And we do not have any air stones or anything like that. This is just an empty tank and our aquaponic grow bed, and you can create the oxygen, and you can do the LECA works as a natural filtration system. So these fish have been growing for over a year. They've been very happy, very healthy. The plants have been healthy, and it's just a good closed system, closed ecosystem from the fish, the nutrients coming in, and then the plants using up the nutrients, and it works really well. So give it a try if you haven't, and leave us a comment how it works for you or what kind of experimentation you've done with your aquarium water. So that's about it for our aquaponics system update, and I wanted to stand up here and show you how big these leaves are getting. These are the biggest leaves in the entire house. I don't know if that's been mentioned yet, but I wanted to throw that out there. And
Thank you, Cletus.
thank you guys for watching.
Hashtag free Cletus.
Hashtag free Cletus.
Okay guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it inspires you to go out there and try an air plant for yourself. Their soup's easy, their soup's beautiful, and you can put them wherever you want that's got good lighting in your house. It works out really well. So please consider subscribing if you aren't already subscribed. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out. Later, taters. Bye.
now it's time for a big, dirty, nasty shout out to all my dirty plant enthusiasts out there. Nadinsky, Seven Puggies, Cindy C, A Bear's Garden, Abby Gilbert, Ace Cadet, Alexandra Chilton, Always Propagating, Amanda Davila, Amber V, Amy Adwan, Anna Dreesen, Ashley Caraveo, Ashley Sexton, A Warm Wind, Bailey Barnett, Barbara Lindbergh, Bren, Carly Grinnell, Casey Dillon, Casey Glidewell, Kat and Gizmo, Chamomile Camille, Colleen Hatton, Corey Traxler, Courtney Martin, Crazy Plant Lady, Cuties with Cartney, Daniel Holt, Darren Heppel, David Sawyer, Diana Anderson, Eliza Haney, Ellen Louise Pasco, Emily Kingsley, Aaron Roche, Felicia Yeager, Fenner Lamb, Fiona, Fredo 79, Glass Cactus 15, Goncalo Martins, Gretchen Ward, Haley Hetrick, Haley Martin, Haley Kester, Harper Gray, Hazel Foreman, Heather Summers, Heidi Christofferson, Hells Bells, Holy Coley, Houseplanty Goodness, Hunter Jolly, Jamie Ellis, Jake Rowe, Jenna Maria, Jennifer Banner, Jennifer Girolametto, Jess Marvel, Jessica Viola, Joe Howard, Joseph L. Simmons V, Caitlin Card, Cassandra Hines, Kathy W., Kaylee Logan, Keith Betchel, Kelly Hodgson, Kim Toby, Kimberly Mossman, Not Dude, Christy Bem, Crystal T, Kaya Hauser, Kylan Cooper, Lauren Loves Leaves, Lisa Garden, Light Owl, Lilac Moore, Lillianne Morin, Lisa Nolan, Lori Davidson Hughes, Louise H., Lulu's Leaves, Maggie Davis, Mackenzie Hogarth, Mara Baker, Maureen W., Megan Moyna, Meeks, Megan Lilly, Mev H., Mia Sewell, Michaela Rags, Michelle A., Michelle Meckel, Michelle Reed, Michelle Watts, Monica Allison, Nicholas Constant, Nicole Rohrer, Nikki Toller, Ordinary Plant Girl, Pam's Pretty Plants, Peanuts Plants, Rachel Morrell, Rachel Sharp, Raylene Hillhouse, Rhea Shields, Rhiannon C., Ricky Bolbeck, Reese's Roots, Safia Bahadir, Sarah Santos, Seth Miller, Showers, ASMR, Sophie Botting, Steph Miller, Stephanie Bazella, Stephanie Mincy, Stephanie Pietro. Good Lord, I love my Stephanies. Tanya Houtsaker, Tara Christensen, Taylor Kaysen, T, Tiffany Wright, Trent Grolmus, Tyler Kersey, Vertigree Dreams, Vernie Zoo, Victoria Fonseca, Wesley Lemontino, and Yadira Z. And now, an extra dirty, extra nasty shout out to my gigantic monthly supporters, my dirty plant hoes, who have access to our monthly lives and also our monthly plant purges. Danny Ryan, Abby Rupp, Alexandra Kennedy, Allie Wells, Allison Havens, Alyssa Braden, Amber Mae Fleming, Amber Metter, Amber Poole, Amy Baxter, Andrew Wolf, Anna D., April Robinson, Ariel Roots, Arlisa B., Ashley Kathleen, Ashley Williams, Aubrey Puff, Beth, Hello Houseplants, Botanicaz, LLC, C. Woe, Caitlin Christie, Carly Knight, Cassidy Walker, Chelsea Clifton, Chrissy Spencer, Christina Kuntz, Chrissy Stewart, Sierra Jones, Danny Sprague, Deanne Santos, Denise Tomer, Diana Warner, Donna, Dorkalicious, Ellen Hoover, Emily Cephalou, Emily Forhay, Emma LaCroix, Emma Wiley, Florence Ramirez, Forever Hopeful Plants, Katie, Gab, Gina the Great, Haley Eblin, Haley Stanley, Heather Lamb, Heather Worrell, Hollis Good, Houseplant Heather, Jameow, Jasmine Renee, Jedi KCC, Jennifer Rouse, Jenny Vanderbilt, Jessica Stanford, Jill Cunningham, Joanna Meyer, Joanne Hernandez, Caitlin Guavi, Carissa, Catherine Sproles, Kelly Rice, Kelly Smith, Kelly Costello, Kristen Williams, Christy D, Crystalia B, Lana MT, Lauren, Mari Boots, Mark Straw, Megan Earls, Megan Gowdy, Melissa Hartog, Michelle G, Mirena, Natural State Ashley, Nicholas Caruso, Nikki Grilly, Odd Avocado Tree, Olivia Wise, Oops, I Soiled My Planties, Paul Zhang, Peyton Gold, Pinky from Hot Farms, Plant Friend Down the Street, Plant Princess, Simonetta, QR, Reagan Cornelius, Rianne Chuckasang, Rico 9383, Riley Elizabeth, Ren, Root and Leaf, Sammy Joe Ruby, Sarah Schwartz, Sarah J, Shannon Mattingly, Sleazy Wednesday 1, Spotted Oreo 10, Stacy Anderson, Stanny, Tammy Carroll, Tara Peterson, Tara's Plants, Tropics in the Midwest, Teddy Ruxpin, oh my god, hello, Tara Wolfgang, Tess Bot says The Fiber Circus, The Hatter's Madness, The Plants Channel, The Plants Meow, Tracy Buzzle, Tyler Frakes, Valerie Titus, Victoria Olson, Whitney Sales, Wicked Witch Roxy, Will H, Winter Rose, and Yvonne Smith. I love you so much. You're my favorite in the whole wide world. I love you. I love you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Be sure and check out my other channels, links in the description down below. Peace out. Later, taters. Bye.